2015, South African hearts were broken.
South Africa despair! They're down on their knees!
I had to go and relive the highlights of how New Zealand beat South Africa in a semi-final in Auckland to go to the World Cup final.
New Zealand goes wild! They're making the trip for the big prize!
Now, even for this match, a lot of people, their prediction, it's going the way of New Zealand. Of course, mine isn't. Join me as I break down the upcoming match and why I think South Africa can win and get redemption. I mean, like I just said, I had to go and rewatch the highlights, and oh my goodness, what let us down that day was the fielding. Without a doubt, arguably, we probably went into the 2015 World Cup as probably the best fielding side. You can make that argument. This time around, however, New Zealand, by a mile, they're the best fielding side in this tournament. We've already seen what they can do. Superman Phillips, you know, Kane Williamson, 2 great catches against India. Are they going to be feeling the pressure? Is the tables well and truly going to turn? Are they going to be as good in the field as they have been the whole tournament? South Africa, we haven't been tested in the field really. And on a pitch that's probably going to offer 300 to 350 runs, my goodness, catches win you matches. And look at this catch efficiency. Latham as well, you know, he's been going under the radar, but his keeping has been absolutely phenomenal. So for this one, you know, you got to give this one to New Zealand. Now, interestingly enough, both of these two teams play almost absolutely 100% similar styles of cricket when it comes to the power play. They're both very circumspect. They don't want to lose too many wickets too early. Now, the Australia versus Afghanistan match, we saw Spencer Johnson getting that ball, you know, to have a lot of swings, some in-swingers, some out-swingers. Henry's going to be key for South Africa. They've often now used Ngidi for that early swing, and they bring in Rabada a bit later. Going back to the 2023 World Cup, Jansen absolutely ripped through New Zealand's top order in India. So a lot of big match players. For South Africa, New Zealand, both slow starters, like I said, but I think with the addition of Rickleton, we might see a bit of the tempo going a bit up with him there. But we'll have to wait and see, but very evenly matched in terms of wicket taking and in terms of batting approach in the power play. Now here's where things get really, really interesting for me, because from a bowling perspective, both of these teams have gone different routes. You know, New Zealand are packed with quality spinners, something that's always like going under the radar. You know, you think bowlers and you think wickets, but the ability to accumulate dot ball after dot ball, creating that kind of pressure, and then for the other bowler on the other side to strike, you know, it's unmatched in ODI cricket. So how is South Africa going to navigate that pinpoint on target spin attack of New Zealand? Both of these two teams have very healthy strike rates in the middle. Their batters are really good at accumulating runs. Both of them very good at getting twos. So again, very evenly matched. South Africa have gone for a more preferred pace attack than spinning attacks. George Linder has just been flown in. The interesting thing for me is I don't like jumping the gun, but we haven't seen Shamsi at all in this tournament. And if we do make it to Dubai, if, you know, he hasn't played a single match, if he doesn't play in Lahore. So are they going to give him a game? I thought Mulder has been great throughout the middle. He's very economical as well, and he can take those wickets. He's very accurate. He can hit the pitch hard. We've seen on these flatter decks that hitting the pitch hard, bowling that great length, spoke about it the other day, you know, it's going to get you wickets. It's difficult for batters to score on that, but this phase is going to be really important, and both of these two teams are very dependent on this phase as well. We saw New Zealand, how they couldn't really get over the line because they were stifled in this middle phase. So whoever is going to dominate that phase is going to go very far, as we've seen with all matches, to really getting an upper hand in the match. I would also like to add something I forgot, but I think people would think that South Africa, we're not a very good lineup against spin. As you can see here, we're not really that bad. We've probably got the most destructive batter in the world in Heinrich Klaasen against spin, but everybody else here in this lineup, you know, pretty decent averages, pretty strike rates are pretty decent as well for those middle overs, you know, 90s around there. So don't underestimate South Africa when it comes to playing spin. And also on these flatter decks, you know, a lot of people argue with me when I say South Africa, you know, we're the best at batting overs 35 to 50. as we can see here, the potential is definitely there. We've seen Klaasen and Miller take down the might of Australia quite a few times now in overs 35 to 50. And on what we expect to be a flat pitch, I would have to go ahead and say, I'm very confident about that. Simon Doull mentioned the other day he's not too sure about New Zealand's death bowling, although I will say having that extra spinning option, they've got like 2 spinning options, bowling from overs 40 to 50, I think is a big plus. I don't know if South Africa's going to have that. Are we going to pick a second frontline spinner? Is Markram going to be fit to play? Okay, I thought Henry was fantastic in that last phase of the match, but South Africa have not been tested in the death overs. So that's going to be a big thing for South Africa. I would love to see Maharaj bowl a bit at the back, but we also can't have 0 spinning options in the middle. So it's going to be a fantastic phase of the game. It's going to be very interesting. South Africa are without a doubt the most destructive team in those final overs. Can New Zealand find a way to stifle them? And can South Africa show up and deliver some fantastic death bowling? We'll just have to wait and see. Prediction time. Yeah, a lot of people are giving this to New Zealand and they deserve it. They've played some really good cricket throughout the entire tournament. But if it's going to be a flat deck, we saw a bit of grass. We definitely saw something in it for the swing bowlers at the start, Australia versus Afghanistan. But if it's going to then flatten out, I'd have to give it to South Africa. I think we've got way more power in our batting lineup than New Zealand has in theirs. How are we going to navigate the spin in the middle is going to be key. Do not underestimate the power of rotating the strike and getting those 2s and then waiting for the opportune moment to strike. I'm 100% going for South Africa. We're going to get redemption. Let me know in the comments what you think